Okay, so I got super duper lazy, and I'm like, hey, I don't want to go and hang out in my, like, with the computers and stuff, so I'm like, what if I just got this next book that was my sister's, that is super duper old, and it is cracked on the screen, and just try to find it here, and then I realized, where would I find it? So I went to a shady website that had it. Let's see if it turns into anything. Or gives me a web error, gives me a virus. I mean, it's working. I wish I could flip. Ooh. I want to show you my background. It's working. Yeah, fun fact, the reason why this is cracked is because I had it on my bed years ago and I used it every day. And I actually cracked it with my hip. I like rolled on it and I just heard crunch. Might be. Yeah, when I was actually looking for this video, my images kept popping up, like these videos, because I guess I'm the only one that didn't get taken down because I don't show anything. So that was funny. However, it felt odd because I'm like, that's me on the internet. But okay, this sounds a little off. It is just a second early. Late, maybe it's a second late. But I mean, if I could get the video, the video I saved. Oops. If I could get that on here, I never have to move again. Ever. Yeah, this is my broken chair. As you can see, it is very clearly leaning down to one side. Whoosh. I got an ad on Spotify. I got an ad for Chord Slate, which I actually didn't realize it was going to be that. I thought it was going to be, I didn't think anything of it. It was an ad. I wasn't paying attention. What happened was the ad started with like, no matter what, if you have a little you break, and it was like, if because you had too much social interaction, like human interaction, you don't want that anymore. And I'm just like, human interaction, like, I hope not. I hope not. Like, do not, if you can't, do not go out. Don't go out. Anyways, I dusted this thing off, but I think it had so much dust on it, it gave me a headache. Actually, it's over here, but who cares? I love how he was like, do I have to report him for you? And then zips him up. Like, just tell him to grab it and do it himself right when he figured it out. Like, I'm not saying anything. You know the saying that if you do something 1,000 times, you'll become an expert. Is it 1,000? I guess I won't even at the end of that. I was gonna make a joke about becoming an expert at watching this video, but I guess it doesn't work if it's 1,000 times. I was gonna take off the thing so it doesn't have any feedback, but actually, you might be getting feedback. I'm gonna be real, and I'm sorry. Just if you're getting feedback, just leave. Just leave. It's like it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. Yeah, it's really squeaking. I hope you don't. Yeah, who cares? Anyways, yeah, I was watching Jack's video of the nonverbal body language expert talking, where he... Okay, so here's the thing. Where with that guy, I don't see his credentials anywhere. He uses a lot of this means this, point blank period, where that's just not true. You can be like, I know, I researched it, so I know this equals this, but he didn't say that. He said, oh, Jack coughed, cleared his throat. That indicates that he doesn't talk at his normal voice frequency. That's bull crap. I mean, oh man, I think it was it a Mario Maker? Oh, it's the Game Grumps. No, it wasn't Mario Maker. It was Sauna. It was a Game Grumps video. And at the very beginning, Aaron wanted to explain something, but he just ate pretzels and he just kept not being able to talk. He just kept coughing and coughing and coughing. I mean, I wanted to motion. You can hear it right now with Ethan. He's coughing right now. That doesn't mean he's talking in a way that isn't normal. I mean, so it's just like the way he's coughing. It's just like, okay, or like the fact that he's coughing. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, he's talking in a not normal way. And I'm like, you can tell he's straining his voice, but not by the cough, by him clearly straining his voice. But it was a lot of 100%, like, oh, because of this 100%. It's like, no, you can be nervous and like looking a certain way, like nervousness, and it be actual nervousness, being active fear, different things. With fidgeting, you know, I know Jack has ADHD, so like if he fidgets a lot with, like, he mentioned his hand fidgeting, like it doesn't have to be that, but he also literally said in that particular video that he was already nervous because he was introducing his new editor at the time, Robin, who came out as a he/him trans woman, if I'm not mistaken. Not the point though. Love them. Him. Anyways, so what happened is Like the fact that he's like, he looks nervous, and just like, yeah, he just said that, and it's not because he's putting on a persona. He was saying he was nervous because he was he was changing his fundamental of his channel, which was previously I did everything by myself. Every single thing, every thumbnail, everything, every edit, every video, every comment, everything was me. But now he's like, okay, I'm bringing in this person, and I hope you guys don't mind. Like, he said he was afraid of that. So the fact that he figured that out and kind of like cold read him, and it's like, I'm not saying body language doesn't exist. It clearly does. I have nonverbal communications a lot, especially if it's a thing that I thought everyone does, but apparently it's like a joke. It's a very like assigned female at birth kind of situation where you get conditioned to it, or you get taught it and you don't realize it, where if someone's talking, you kind of look at each other and you kind of raise your eyebrows, or like, and you kind of just are like, this guy is saying something ridiculous. Like, it's something that you do. Or I had a conversation with someone. I was trying to get a nonverbal communication with them, and they just didn't understand. And it is a very much a thing. Body language is a thing. Nonverbal communication is a thing. Obviously. Or not, yeah, nonverbal. I think I said non-physical or something. I'm like, what? No, nonverbal communication is clearly a thing. And, I don't know. So the fact that he even mentioned, like, he was going like this, meaning he's throwing his blame away. But then in that same video, the guy does the same thing when they're going, like, my idea is this, but this over here. And he literally did the same hand movement. And it got me. It got to me. Because the fact that it's like he's pushing his blame away. He's not taking responsibility. Or he's not taking responsibility, but he's not taking the criticism for himself. He's like, any criticism, any critique is over here. But what Jack actively said was, Jack said that his idea of a horror game is like here. That's what he's going to talk about it. But if you have your idea, that is fine, that's good. And we had to talk about how great that was, because we don't watch Early Jack, my sibling and I, because we don't like Early Jack. We're just a little off. But having it be like, oh, that's him pushing away, like, any critiques. It's like, what are you talking about? It's hand movement. You did the same thing. And like, you can take a lot of what he said, especially at the very first Jack, and put it onto him, where he's like, oh, well, his face is completely kind of dead. Well, so is yours, because you're trying to be all, I'm so intelligent. Oh, no. It's like, no, you're not. No, stop. So it's like, I can put a lot of what you're saying back on you, and a lot of what he said is also confirmation bias, or kind of, it seems like he got the information and then put it on it, instead of saying, I got this information and I confirmed it via doing my research. But he said a lot of times, like, oh, this very first, like, camera video of Jack with talking about his horror games, that seems very, that seems like he's, like, sad and his life was horrible. But Jack actually very recently came out and said a lot of things about how his mental health was really bad back then. So it's like, do you figure this out, or did you read that? And I know, because I've been in those shoes. My sibling actually talked about it, where we look at old Jack and we're like, he's angry in his life, he's frustrated, he's angry. We think maybe that was from sadness, but it's definitely like something's wrong in his life to make him angry, because he was very negative, he was very angry, he was very mad at other people for doing certain things. And obviously you look at Jacksepticeye now and you don't realize that, you don't see it. But it was something that my sibling and I talked about, like, we are not going back. Something clearly changed, and I don't know when it was right before he dyed his hair, so I don't know what changed between those. Honestly, it could have been moving out. I don't know when he moved out of his parents' place. I don't know anything, but I don't know anything about that, but I could tell something changed because I didn't want to watch this previous Jack, this previous very angry, very negative, very almost like a dark cloud around him. And I am no expert, I'm not saying I am, but then seeing then the second video of Jack saying that he's anxious, and I remember watching that live when it came up. Watched him back then, very like that was like what, 4 years ago? Yeah, I was in college and I didn't have cable, so YouTube was my only source of media. And I remember that going up, and I was talking to my sibling. I'm like, right before that, he uploaded a Goat Simulator, and I said, he has an editor now, doesn't he? And my sibling's like, actually, people are speculating that. And we were talking, I'm like, he's way more energetic. He clearly got some good sleep. He, like, all this. And then his edits are way more thought out. Like, even little things that we know he would have made that joke, but to put the little edits in there, he just wouldn't have had the energy for. He was exhausted before doing it. So seeing him be exhausted into being not exhausted anymore, to then admitting that he has an editor and being like, this actually really worked out, but I didn't want to tell you guys beforehand just in case it was a trial period. I didn't know if I was going to keep him. But the idea that this guy is like, oh, he was so nervous, like he literally just said that. He just said that, and the sadness in his life in the first one, Jack been talking about it, and kind of then saying that in the first one, being like, he's so sad you can visually see it when he drops this like fake wall. That being said, him being that way could have easily been marked up to, it's like, oh, well, he didn't take up the whole frame. It's like, okay, great, I do. That doesn't mean anything, like having it be, oh, he doesn't take up the whole frame. It's like, yeah, he never had a video before. You know how different it is from my very first video of this to now? Do you understand how different things are when you first do something? What was your first video like, my dude? First ever. Not even first on that channel, first ever. And it just like, you think you would be one way, but then you kind of withdraw. You can have the best life ever, but you withdraw. And he's always like, oh, he doesn't take up the whole frame. Well, he might not know where the frame is. I move it closer and I did the same hand movement. You see how different it is. He might not know where the frame is. And then, oh, well, he trying to speak this way. It's like, yes, he mentioned his accent quite often. He also mentioned wanting to be, I'm sorry, the audio just went real weird with this countdown. Well, yeah, because it's saying that you can tell that his life was so sad before it felt very harmful, especially since Jack is so self-conscious about people like reading his emotions. But then also, since he isn't in a good place, he mentioned that with like COVID, and just like, it's all in all just not good. I don't like it. I don't like this guy. I hated him. This 40-minute video. This 40-minute video turned into like an hour and a half, like hour and 20-minute video, because I just was so absolutely done with this guy. Oops. There's no point. I'm not gonna do that. Okay, bye.